Hey guys, welcome back. Today I wanted to share with you a little bit more about my birth story because there's some things that I never want to forget, and I wanted to share with you guys the things that God taught me about letting go of control. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I was 3 months pregnant with my son Noah when we first moved to Hawaii. When we first got here, we were renting a bedroom from a friend and her family, which we were super grateful for. I knew I wanted a water birth from the beginning. We just weren't exactly sure how that was all going to unfold. As time moved on and my belly got bigger, I started to stress out a lot because I was almost 6 months pregnant, trying to figure out how we were going to fit a baby and all of his things into a one bedroom. Eventually, we did want to have our own home, but when I started looking for places, it just brought me so much anxiety because housing here is so expensive. After consistently looking for a while, I honestly just got to a place in my mind where I had to just stop and let go of it because it was doing so much more harm than it was good. And I feel like I had to let go of my expectations and just trust God and give this over to Him. It wasn't easy for me to do that, and it took a lot for me to just let go. But when I did, something amazing happened. Someone at the church we were going to found out we were looking for a place. And it turns out that they had just bought a house and were looking for people to rent out the townhome they were in so that they didn't have to break their lease. You have no idea how excited I was. We finalized all the paperwork and got the keys on Daniel's birthday. So after living with our friends for a couple months, we packed up our things and we moved into our own townhome. I was one happy mama. But the problems didn't stop there, because you guys saw everything we brought in the beginning of the video. Well, furniture was not included in there. But God. The church knew that we were moving into our own home, and they had this ministry home that was full of furnishings, but a couple was moving into that home, and it turns out that they were bringing their own things from their old home. So they told us, look through what we have and take what you need. Once the house was filled with furniture, we had to really start thinking about our water birth. It was something that we kept on going back and forth because we had insurance, but that would only cover a hospital birth. And we really wanted a water birth, but that meant we would have to pay all out of pocket. A few weeks after we had just moved in, a friend of ours called Daniel, and he gave him a check that we never expected. And he said he wouldn't take no for an answer. And so when Daniel got home and we opened up the check, guess what? It was enough for a water birth. Honestly, I was excited, I was shocked, and I was completely humbled that God would use somebody in this way to show us that He is our provider, that He has never left us. Having just moved to Hawaii, it felt so foreign to us. We didn't know anybody, we didn't have family here, we didn't have a lot of friends at the time, and we were about to have a brand new baby, our first baby. And at every turn, it felt like there was this common theme of letting go of control. And God just constantly reminding me, hey, you're carrying unnecessary burden. I got you. I'll take care of you. Now that we for sure knew we were having a water birth, it was time to find a midwife. And finding the right one was a really big deal for me because I feel that giving birth is such a sacred, intimate moment that I didn't want it to just be anybody. I knew that I really wanted a peaceful water birth, and to have that, you have to set yourself up for success and do what makes you feel safe. So for me, that meant having a midwife that had the same core beliefs as I did. I wanted someone that would pray over me and encourage me and be there for me on a spiritual level. And I'm so glad I waited until I found Mari, because she was perfect. We instantly connected, and I felt like I could trust her, and she also made me feel safe. The day had finally come. It was March 26th, around 2 a.m. in the morning. I got up to go to the bathroom to pee. Nothing new here when you're pregnant. And my water broke, and the contractions quickly came. It feels like you're being struck by lightning down there. I know it's TMI, but it does. They were very subtle at first, but still really uncomfortable. I called my midwife, and she told me to try and go back to sleep. And by sleep, she meant to try and rest my body in between contractions, which was probably the best advice she ever gave me, because you definitely need to conserve your energy for when it comes time to push. It was really nice having Mari just a phone call away, because I didn't have to stress over what was going on and what to do next, because she was coaching me along the whole way. As I continued to labor, the contractions started getting more intense, and I would just keep in touch with Mari and let her know as I was progressing. It was around noon when my contractions got so intense that I broke down in tears, and I started to think, I can't do this. I was feeling so defeated. Shortly after that, Mari and her team got to my house, and as soon as Mari came to the door, she gave me the biggest hug. It's like she knew exactly what I needed. And with her and the girls being there, I felt the biggest sense of relief. After hours of laboring and pacing around the house and walking up and down the stairs, it was finally time to push. Mari had taken this mirror that she brought with her, and she put it into the tub, and I was able to see Noah as he was crowning, which was such an amazing experience. And it was also really helpful, because when you see your baby's little head and you are going through all this intense pain, it just keeps you going. After laboring for 12 hours and pushing for 1, we finally welcomed our son Noah into the world, and it was one of the most amazing things that we've ever experienced.
Okay, let's do it again for the shoulders and go. Oh, look down, look down, look down, look down, look down. Oh. Make it.
This was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life, but I still feel like I had an amazing experience. Not because it was pain-free, or because everything went my way, or because I did everything perfect, but because of Daniel and the amazing women around me that never stopped telling me that I could do it. They never stopped supporting me or speaking words of life into me, or doing anything possible to make sure I was comfortable. And those are things I'll never forget. Giving birth is such an incredible experience. I truly believe that there are so many life lessons that you can take from it. Letting go of control seemed to be the common theme for me, from the time I was pregnant to the time Noah was born. When I was laboring, the more I tightened up with each contraction and held on to the control, the longer it took for Noah to come out, and the longer I had to endure the pain. But once I surrendered my mind to my body and trusted that God designed me to do this, the quicker the process was, and the less time I had to endure the pain. This lesson also applies to our everyday life. When you choose to hold on to the control instead of letting God have control, the more unnecessary burden and stress you take upon yourself. But when you choose to let go and trust God with whatever you're holding on to, not only will you be released of that burden, but you will find complete freedom and peace. All of our birth stories are different and unique. You can plan for months and still have nothing go the way you expected. Whether you've had an amazing birth or a hard traumatic one, whether you've had a home birth, a water birth, or a hospital birth, you are still worthy, and God will still use your story. Just remember, there is peace in surrender.